What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
I am Iron Man.
You are a toy!
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Server Anakin! I have the high ground!
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
Welcome back to an unorthodox episode of the Big Movie Boys podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Bauman, and joining me today is Ben Stitch.
Fuck DeAndre Hopkins.
And Bob Liebel.
I hope DeAndre Hopkins gets in a very, very violent car crash on his way home from the stadium today.
If you can't tell, we are recording this portion of the episode immediately following the Bills' tragic loss on Sunday. And basically, the reason that this episode is so different is for a couple of reasons. We've had two unlucky weeks, is what I'll call them. Is that fair to say?
Definitely say one very unlucky week and one bad week.
One just big old shitty week.
So last week, there was no episode, as I tweeted out. There was the best way I can describe it is a recording error, where we recorded with my brother. I thought it was a great episode, probably one of our best ones, if not the best one. And when I went to go edit it, I had an hour-and-a-half long empty audio file. And
another thing that you missed out, Jeremy, we actually had Leonardo DiCaprio on the podcast in person. We recorded a ton of cool stuff with him, but sadly, it's all lost.
I was just gonna say that. I thought Jeremy forgot about that. It was just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have Leonardo DiCaprio, can't say his name, on the pod, and I can't believe that footage is just
lost
gone forever.
Yeah,
it was unreal.
So as much as I'd like to apologize to my co-hosts, to the listeners of the Big Movie Boys podcast, I'd like to extend my deepest apologies to Leonardo DiCaprio. I know he was really looking forward to it. And then this week, we decided, we're kind of doing guest spots for the entire month of November. And we had a guest on for this episode. And it was kind of a disaster, a bit of a train wreck. I'm going to salvage as much of it as I can. We watched Apocalypto, and we reviewed Apocalypto. And following this recorded bit, we will then go over to our review of that movie with Ben Petko, our guest this week.
Jeremy, don't sugarcoat it. He's not even going to listen to the goddamn podcast.
I was just going to say, you don't have
mess.
Once we get through this portion, you have that to look forward to. If it's longer than 20 minutes, I'll be surprised. We recorded for, an hour and a half?
It felt like 3 hours listening to him talk.
It felt like 3 days.
So, we're just going to kind of keep it mellow, keep it loose until we cut over to that bit. Do you guys have anything that you've been watching that has made you a little happier than the football game we just watched?
Bob,
I'm truly distraught right now. So this is, thinking about being happy is something I can't even fathom right now. But I'll try my hardest. For me, I've been watching Blood of Zeus. It's a new Netflix original anime. It's basically if you look at, Hercules when you were a kid. You ever watch that?
The Disney one?
That was one of my nicknames. That was my nickname.
Who the fuck called you Hercules?
Everyone on the soccer team.
I don't recall that. But anyway, it's like that, but with lots more blood and gore, and it's an adult version of that, and it's all about Greek mythology, and it's basically Zeus's illegitimate son, and then they're fighting these demons basically. But it's the way it's animated, it's very visually pleasing. The story is very entertaining. There's a good twist in there. It's only 8 episodes. The episodes are about 20 to 30 minutes, so it's a pretty quick watch. I mean, I did it in 2 days, but I think the total runtime on it is 4 hours, so you could easily put this whole first season down in a day. But super good. Greek mythology, very, very entertaining. But I'm just super into that, the whole Greek mythology. So interesting, so visually pleasing to watch this show. I couldn't recommend it anymore.
I previously asked you, I think, if it was comparable to Avatar, but I want to if you could only rewatch one season of anime, if you even include this in anime, would you choose this above any Avatar seasons or Korra seasons?
I'd still go Avatar over it, but just because Avatar is on its own level. But I think if you enjoyed Avatar, you would enjoy this show because it's got all it's got good storytelling, interesting characters. But yeah, Avatar's on a different level for me. But this is still like, if you enjoyed it and say you're like looking into more anime stuff, I would definitely throw this on. Like I said, very quick watch too. I mean, you can get, and you'll either be like, you'll be hooked after like the first episode. If you're not, then it's just not for you. But I would assume most people would be. It's good. It's good. It's very good. But I also started watching from the same. I don't know if it's producers or writers. I don't know. Anyway, it's the same fucking people that make this other show on Netflix. It's called Castlevania. It's about like vampires, and it's similar. Like, it's an interesting story, interesting characters. The way it's animated is very cool and visually pleasing. But I'm like halfway through that right now. But those are the two things I've been watching. Blood of Zeus is definitely the one I would recommend, though. It's very good.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, so I finally finished Dexter. Yeah, I've previously told you guys, like, it's the worst show I've ever watched. I'm so happy to have it out of my life. The way it ended, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they're coming back with a limited series. So now that it's ended, I get how they can make that happen. I know I'm gonna watch it, but I know I'm gonna hate watch it. That show's so terrible. But the show that I actually recently started is like I think it's famous now, is Schitt's Creek.
Oh, that's so funny.
I've flown through it. Did you finish it, Bob?
Yeah. I didn't watch it like in sequential order. I watched a lot of episodes with Liz, and then I watched the finale. But oh my god, that show's fucking hysterical.
It's so funny. The characters are so like unique and different than like regular TV shows. It was super funny. I'm on season 5 right now. I got or season 4 maybe. I don't know. I have like a little over a season, I'm pretty sure, left. I'm pretty excited to finish that, but also sad to see that one go because of the characters. But that's probably going to be a show that you can rewatch, kind of like how I rewatch The Office all the time.
Jeremy, did you see that ever?
I watched like the first 8 episodes, and I
love that.
Yeah, it does get a lot better after the first season. I wasn't a huge first season fan.
Yeah, because it was like winning all the awards at the Emmys or whatever. Everyone was losing their mind about it. I finally started it, and I was like, this is the show everyone's losing their mind over? I know it never really got me, but
it does get funnier later, yeah.
Yeah. I should probably continue with it.
And it's such a quick watch. I think it's like 12, 13 episodes a season and only 6 seasons. So that you pound through that way quicker than you can like Game of Thrones or something like that.
Yeah, for me, I told you guys I watched The Prestige finally. And I learned that you guys apparently are little movie boys and have
never heard of
The Prestige.
I still can't wait to watch this.
When I realized it was on Hulu, I immediately put it on. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know this was on Hulu. Watched it. Awesome. Mandalorian now has 3 episodes out, and they are 3 for 3 in my opinion.
Probably I might get back into it.
The best Star Wars stuff that's come out since Disney acquired them is the second season, and it builds off the first season. I like the first season. First season had its high moments and its low moments. I think season 2 is really building towards something cool here finally. And then the new consoles came out this past week, which meant a bunch of new games came out. I got Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man game. Beat it in a couple days. It's pretty short. It's not a full-blown game, but it's awesome. I mean,
hey, as a group, as kind of like South Park, can we just decide right now what console that we will all buy as friends? I know Bob doesn't play as much. I'm only sports games, but I think we need to lock in so we can actually start competing against each other.
For me,
I'm gonna agree. I know what Jeremy's gonna say. I'm gonna say PS5. I think I'm a PlayStation boy.
Yeah, I mean, for the exclusive titles alone, and I don't play a ton of games, but the fact that Spider-Man is exclusive to PlayStation means they got me. They got me. Those games are so much fun.
Yeah, and you've been like Xbox and PS4 in the past. I've always been Xbox. So I think, well, since the 360 came out, but so I think I'm going to switch back eventually whenever I can actually afford to make this purchase, maybe in like a year, but I think I'll go with PS5 when it actually is all said and done.
Yeah, I went from the PS2 to the Xbox 360 to the PS4. And I was pretty late into each of those generations, but I feel like that's like how most people navigated between the two. I feel like a lot of people had the PS2. I think it's still like the best-selling console of all time. Switched to the 360, and then switched back to the PS4. I feel like I've heard the tale of that
does
journey.
feel accurate.
Is there any like data out on like which one is selling better right now, or like I saw some clips of like the new Xbox like smoking and stuff like when people were using it.
Those are all fake videos of people vaping into the bottom of the Xbox so the fans would shoot the smoke out the top.
So I'm an idiot.
Yeah, Xbox had to make an official statement saying, please don't exhale vape smoke into your Xbox.
Shit.
But, I mean, as far as sales numbers, I don't know. I think they both came out on, like, Tuesday and Thursday, the Xbox and PlayStation, respectively, I think. Something close to that.
I'll be sad to say goodbye to the Xbox One, but I think, like, yeah, just in the past, like, MLB, the show, has been one of my favorite video games, and Xbox never had that. And it just feels like more of my friends. I feel like 60% of the friends have the PlayStation over Xbox, so I think that's what I'm going to switch over to.
Yeah, I mean, I like my PlayStation. I've had no issues with it. I did not get a PS5 pre-order. I'm probably going to wait on it for a little while, but I do imagine whatever next-gen console I get will be PlayStation. If that's everything we've been watching, you guys just want to talk about what's going on in our lives? And Bob, I know you went on a little Adirondacks trip this weekend. You want to tell us about that?
It was real nice. Went up to Shroon Lake. Got or maybe Scroon Lake. I don't know. I've heard it said multiple
Schoon
ways.
Lake?
Shroon.
Oh, okay.
SCHROON. But went up there, absolutely beautiful. I've been to the Adirondacks a lot, as a young boy, but it was always during summertime. Never been up there in the the fall. Fucking incredible, Went on a nice hike up a mountain. The place I was staying at had like a beautiful like river that ran along the back side of the backyard, like a little like drop off into a river, and you could see one of the high peaks like off in the distance. So like unbelievable view. Yeah, got loaded all day, every day. Great time, totally fun. No cell phone reception. I don't know. When's the longest you went with your phone turned off?
I mean, I've gone on hiking or camping trips in the last couple of years where it's been a few days, but I don't know, maybe like 3 days max.
Ben, what about you?
Mine would probably be like 5 hours max if we're not counting sleeping. I can't think of a time where I just haven't been at least near my phone or out of service. I'm never really out of service, but
yeah. So I was out of service. Like, so I was like 2 hours into the drive, not 2 hours, like maybe like 3 hours into the drive, I started to lose reception. And then like I didn't have it the whole time there. Like I could get like some text messages, but like, and I couldn't check Twitter or anything. And I like kept trying, and I was just getting pissed off. So I just fucking put my phone away, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna enjoy nature the way I was intended to be. And god damn it, I think I need to do that a little more. I think my phone is poisoning my brain because I felt incredible. It was a real good time. I recommend putting your phone away and getting out in nature every once in a while.
What about you, Ben? How's Cali treating you? Basically a vacation out there as well, right?
Yeah, basically. I'm not as big nature boy as Bob is. I'm more so I like going to the beach here a lot. So with the new COVID stuff going on right now, I feel like we're kind of entering a more lockdown phase again. So trying not to go out as much, but then when we go to the beach, we go to the dog section of the beach with our dog and with Drake, and he fucking loves the water. It's so cute. It's weird. He hates like pool water, hates like the river, but like the ocean excites him. He wants to run in it. So we kind of have to like keep him from not going in it so much because it's a pain in the ass to clean him. He's not like he has it's not regular fur that just sheds off. So it's a pain in the ass to fucking clean him after. So it's just basically I run up and down the beach, but not like to play with him, but not like along the water then because he'll get too dirty. But yeah, I feel like I just go to the beach. Just trying to work out more recently. But yeah, going to the pool a bunch to work out, looking for jobs constantly. That's like the first 4 hours of my day every day. And then it goes to the beach and then working out. Like I try to work out more now. I feel like the weather's still nice out here. I got to try to take advantage of it. What about you, Jer?
Working out in the pool? The good old pool workout? Remember that one time when me and Dylan out there?
Yeah, we did like actual workout. I think we scared people away because we were doing like quads
it was like
in there.
old kids and children were like squatting and doing push-ups next to the pool, and like, everybody left.
Yeah, we made people feel awkward. We do like laps in between. That shit was. We were.
It was
crazy.
It was peak douche for us. Yeah. It was rough.
Yeah, I can't think of anything really exciting or noteworthy going on in my life. I did lose $10 on my sports bets this weekend. You hate to see that.
I thought you were going to say 10 pounds.
Oh, no. That would have been something to talk about. Yeah, other than playing Miles Morales, can't say I did too much else this weekend. Pretty terrible weather here.
I think you and I are in a competition to see who can get the better man bun going by like New Year's.
I did. That was a development this weekend. I did put my hair up in a man bun. It didn't look as bad as it should have, but it didn't look good.
I can't do it by myself. I need Tina to do it for me.
See, I only have long enough hair on the top, so I'm basically just grabbing every long piece of hair on my head and tying it into a knot. So
I don't want to see either of you with a man bun. My worst nightmare would be just locked in a room with you two and both your hairs up. That would I couldn't handle that.
Bob, I got the Cali man bun going on, man. I'm pretty sure as soon as I can get it into a full bun, I will know how to surf. So that's why I haven't been taking surfing lessons. I just assume once your hair is long enough, it just instinctually comes to you.
You've just been taking a lot of vitamin E, trying to grow that hair out.
Yes.
I do think if I just like shave down all the shorter parts, like all the shorter hair on my head, then I could do like a full Zuko kind of cut pretty soon.
I could do that.
Yeah, do that, and then me and Bob will burn your face.
Yeah. Perfect. We got a whole plan. Yeah. All right, I think we're going to kick it over to whatever I was able to salvage from the Apocalypto review. Do you guys have any last warnings to anyone who decided to listen this deep into the podcast and continue listening forward?
Ben Petko is by no means a representation of the Big Movie Boys, and anything that he says does not represent us as a podcast. And listen with care.
Yeah, and I'll just I'll echo those sentiments, and I will add that let's blame Jeremy overall. I think he picked his brother. That was a good pick. Eric was good. It's sad that audio is never going to be listened to again, but then you fucked it up by having Petko come on. So it immediately canceled out your good decision.
That is fair. I will take credit for my own poor decisions. Moving forward, next couple of weeks, we got a few more guests lined up. Don't know exactly what we're doing with them then. Best case scenario is that the audio actually records and they actually end up coming out good. So we'll see what the next few weeks have in store for us. Hopefully we'll get back to a more routine setup here, more routine episode. So this will be a shorter one. This will be a stranger one. But, I guess it's better than nothing. Maybe. You decide. Let us know. Tweet at Big Movie Boys. And, all right, here's Apocalypto review featuring Petka.
Let's talk about Apocalypto, and then maybe by the end of it, we can come up with something for the beginning.
Okay.
All right, so it was Petko's recommendation, but we all this week watched Apocalypto. If you're unfamiliar, it was released on December 8th, 2006, written by Mel Gibson and Farhad Safania. Directed by Mel Gibson as well, this movie stars Rudy Youngblood, Raul Trujillo, and Gerardo Tarracina. Apologies for probably butchering all of those names.
No, I don't think you can screw up Rudy Youngblood.
I'm pretty sure I got that one right. I'm feeling pretty confident in that. But let's just go around the horn here. Have you guys seen this movie before? And if you haven't seen it before, did you have any expectations going into it? Petka, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I saw this movie before. I actually purchased this movie when Blockbuster went out of business. I believe it was $4 when they were selling off all their films. So I do have this movie on DVD. I have seen it several times before. One time in Bob's basement for unknown reasons. I believe me, Mike, and Bob may have watched it one day. So yeah, this is a great movie. A lot of great memories along with this movie. So yeah, it was good to watch it again.
Bob, what about you? It sounds like you've watched it at least once in your basement.
Yeah, the first time I saw this movie is when Petko brought it over after he bought it at Blockbuster. But yeah, I'll never forget that night. Actually, it was me, Mike, and Petko, and Petko just calls me up out of the blue. He goes, "Hey, bro, I got this DVD. You gotta see it." So we go down to the basement, turn off all the fucking lights, plug it into the PS2, and just got our minds blown for 2 hours and 20 minutes. But yeah, I like this movie. It's definitely like I've seen it. So I've seen it. I watched it the first time with Petko, and I've probably seen it. This was probably the third or fourth time I've seen it since that initial viewing, and this was the first time I've seen it where I wasn't as amped to see it because obviously I know everything that happens. But the first viewing on it, I mean, you say what you want about it. It's not a perfect movie, but it's definitely a damn enjoyable one, in my opinion.
Ben, what about you? Have you seen this before?
I have not seen it before. I told you guys, yeah, I watched it for the first time just before we hopped on here. I agree. It was a good movie. I wish I had more time to actually sit with it and actually think about how I feel about it. But there's the twist at the end that's you don't see coming. But more so, it's just an escape movie, and I think it's a really well done escape movie. I actually turned the subtitles off, so it was tough for me to actually. I didn't hear anything they said. I didn't know what they were saying at all. I think you could still follow it though.
Interesting.
You can't
Yeah, that's
be
very
serious,
interesting.
correct?
I'm joking. You cannot turn these subtitles off.
For
It's a good
me,
joke.
I was watching it and I thought I'd seen parts of it, and as I watched it, I definitely remembered scenes from the beginning and scenes from the end, but the entire middle was new to me, and obviously I'd never seen it all the way through, so I didn't quite have the context for all those scenes that I had previously seen. But yeah, overall, I liked it a lot. This was a good pick. Over Les Mis was the alternative, so I'm glad we picked this one. Not
Thank
sure I
fucking
would have
God.
felt the same way about Les Mis, but who knows?
I think Les Mis is a great story.
We'll save it for the next time you're on
Okay,
Petka.
okay.
But I know Petko's got a big list here. He came prepared with a lot of notes.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
how
take
do
a
we
risk here and let Petka steer the direction, at least to start.
how do we want to dive
wonderful.
into this? How do we want to dive into this? How do you usually look at it? Are we all going to go around and talk about a little bit about the beginning of the movie? Do we all go around and talk about our highlights of the film?
It varies from movie to movie, but how would you like to go about Apocalypto?
Let's talk about our favorite scenes because I have several.
Well, let's start with you, Pekka. What would you say your favorite scene in this movie is?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it got me cracking up. There's this scene where they're chasing Jaguar Paw. He already escaped. They're chasing him through the forest. One of the dudes gets bit by a snake. All right, and they say something in Mayan or whatever, and the fucking subtitle pops up, and it's just a dude saying he's fucked. And I just love that. It's really funny. It cracks me up. And then then he slits his wrist to end the pain there. So I guess that's not super funny. But another great part in this film is the quicksand scene. I mean, every great film, you need a quicksand scene. It's like Jaguar Paw's been through so much, and he almost bites the dust in a big old pit of quicksand. And it just happens, You can't really prepare.
And the other part
you can't
that-
prepare
the
for
other-
quicksand.
The other reason why that's good too is because then that's his cover for when he
Yes.
throws the beehive.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. Also, do you remember as a kid thinking quicksand would be more a part of your life?
Yes, this is a big issue that many of us have grown up with.
I don't think there's quicksand within a 100,000-mile radius of us.
That would be
That's
off
what
the earth.
Quicksand wants you to think, Bob. That's what they want you to think.
Quicksand Awareness Month. Yeah, and also, someone just brought it up, the bee scene. He gets that one dude fucked up with the bees. That shit's sick. Everyone wants to see that. Another great scene. I forgot his wife has the kid in the pit.
I
Yeah,
love,
that
I love
was
the
wild.
other kid's face when she pulls the
That-
newborn out
Yeah.
of the water, and the kid's just like, "Where did you pull that from?"
That was pretty funky. And of course, my
That
favorite,
scene was wild.
the best scene in this film is when they are saved. When Jaguar Paw falls to his knees on the beach, and the beautiful Catholic Church arrives on the shores of this land, right? to bring all the good news. All the good news. It makes me cry every time.
It doesn't. Can I point something out that doesn't make any sense to me? Is that so? That disease that they're talking about, that you see the little girl that has like the bad omen.
Yeah,
that's smallpox. I'm assuming, right?
I don't
but
know.
That doesn't. I think it's supposed to be smallpox. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
How does this, like, what year does this take place? Because, like, the Mayans are around.
I think it's 1502.
But when did smallpox come? Because I thought smallpox was later. I thought, like, they didn't bring smallpox with them. I thought
it might not be smallpox.
When I was watching it, I just thought it was like leprosy or something.
Because this is the first time. Because those two dudes were in awe when they saw the Spanish. I think this is supposed to be the first meeting with the Spanish. What I've read on Wikipedia is that at this point in time, the Mayan civilization wasn't as strong as it once was, and maybe they were dealing with their own plagues to begin with.
Maybe that's why
that's their whole angle of why they were rounding up people in the forest, which probably really didn't happen.
Why they were sacrificing them? Yeah.
Why were they sacrificing so many?
I don't know. I think I could see that happening, and I think it could be more so than it was. Like they made it seem like it was extremely like ruthless, and then it just took like the moon covering the sun to stop it. But I don't know. Those people like were very set on like signs and stuff, so I don't know. It would make sense to me that they're gathering up small like tribes within the forest to just make sacrifices. But I thought this was more of like an Aztec thing to do rather than the Mayan thing to do.
That's definitely one of the criticisms that I read about this film. There's some historians are saying that this isn't an accurate depiction of the Mayans. And they probably wouldn't go round up random people in the forest to sacrifice. I actually read that the Mayans like to sacrifice like higher class people from their own like civilization. And this was more of an Aztec thing, but he just kind of melds them together. Mr. Gibson here.
Well, if we're talking, my favorite scene, as we're talking about, whether, it's obviously the Mayans, but it has hints of Aztec. I really like when they do get into the city. Like I like the entire, like the walk up all the way to the tower. I like seeing the little bits of the city. I think, I don't know, like the set design and like all, I don't know, even just like everybody is just so like done up, and it seems like it's so like in that time period, and like just the attention to detail I think is really interesting there for that whole lead up all the way up to the tower where they eventually slit their fucking heads off and stab their hearts. But like, I just like that. I like the entire walkthrough. I just think it's a cool scene. Looking around, like it's visually pleasing. That's probably my favorite part of the movie, is when they're in the actual city. I just think it's cool. And then, I don't know. If we're gonna go through like all the Jaguar Paw escapes,
let's go through them.
My two favorites are the jump off of the waterfall that he somehow survives, and the rest of them somehow survive, and then the one where he kills like the head honcho chief guy.
Yeah, he gets him with the trap.
I also agree that like what Bob was saying. I thought there was an interesting part when I'm not going to know any of their names. I'm sorry, but the guy who couldn't have a kid sees his mother-in-law and like be not sold because she's not worth anything. And then like he's like just walking up there, they see like the symbols of the blue people being beheaded and like killed, and then you see the heads like rolling down. It's like you're kind of on this path, like this walk up with them, and you're like, I felt their anxiety, their like fear. It was scary as shit, and I was like, I can't believe shit like this happened. I'm not saying it's probably 100% accurate, but I'm sure shit like this happened, and it scared the fuck out of me, and it just made me like thank God that I was born in the 20th century, at the end of the 20th century. But I think that scene where he finally does escape is sweet, like the way they're avoiding. He's actually smart how he like avoids the arrows. You go zigzag. Yeah, it was smart
like how
to
you
do
run from a croc.
And like him first escaping in the blue, it's like, and then like they just have like 10 guys chase him. When Bob was saying like the jump off scene, I think that one's probably my favorite one about his escaping. You see the one guy like go in head first, which is pretty stupid because then he just hits his head right on a rock. But yeah, that was cool because I love a good movie scene where they jump off a high waterfall where I'm like, no way they'd actually live in real life, but I love seeing it in movies.
I agree, Stitch. It reminds me of a classic Indiana Jones scene where the plane's going down and they jump out in the life raft and they somehow survive.
This movie does feel like it could be a prequel to Indiana Jones. Like,
it's a prequel to the fourth one when all the Mayans come out of the temple.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. I think Mel came out with that later on, and he did confirm that. It is this is in Indiana Jones canon as a prequel.
My favorite scene is basically what you said, Ben, of the them getting into the like city center area, getting painted blue and being walked up the tower. And when the eclipse happens, and that's kind of where they decide to stop cutting bodies, even though it looks like they've already killed like 600 people that day. I was reading it on the IMDb trivia that apparently this is based in somewhat historical fact, where like the Mayans were pretty good astronomers, so they were pretty they knew when the eclipse was coming, so this was all more or less theater put on by the upper class in order to continue subjugating the lower classes. So they would convince the lower classes that what they were doing was actually preventing the eclipse from blocking out the sun forever. Once the sun comes back, to like, see what we did? It works. That's why you need to trust us.
Well, let's talk about Jaguar Paw being probably the luckiest person on the entire history of human beings. About to have his fucking heart cut wide open and his head cut off, and there's a goddamn solar eclipse right as he's laying on the damn thing.
Yeah, when I first watched that, I obviously hadn't seen this movie before, and I just read the synopsis of it that like there's like a daring escape, and he tries to get back to his pregnant wife and his son. At that moment, I was like, how the fuck is he going to get out of this one? And on my bingo board, I did not have solar eclipse, so I lost out on that one, but that was fucking wild.
That was like something I was trying to deal with myself. I was like, I don't know if it's a complaint in the movie necessarily, because I feel like Jaguar Paw does a lot on his own to determine his fate, but I also feel like he gets extremely lucky almost too many times in this movie.
It's because it's an omen from the little girl. It has to happen this way.
Yeah, I agree with Petko. That's sort of the way it justifies itself for me.
I mean, it's also a movie, so they wrote both the omen and the rest of the plot, but
well,
that's why I agree with Jay, where it's like
that's what you get to do as a storyteller. Thanks to Mel.
No, I was just like, yeah, he is obviously extremely lucky. Like he even gets when he was escaping that field where he's zigzagging or whatever, and like he gets shot in the abdomen with an arrow. I'm like, wait, what? Like every time I'm like, I assumed he gets away, but that happens, and I'm like, what the fuck? How is he gonna get away now? I just assumed he was gonna die, and then he pulls it out of him basically. Like he's just. I would like to.
This goes back to one of my old things, right? Where he gets shot in the abdomen with an arrow, and he is easily able to run over 100 yards, miles and miles and miles. He's able to run, right?
He gets shot again later, too.
And he gets shot again
right
later.
in the chest.
Yet every time I've said if I got shot in the leg, I could run 100 yards, I've gotten shit for it from every little angle.
You cannot do that. He would not be able to do this.
So you're saying this is fake, Ben?
I'm saying my biggest nitpick of the movie is he was shot in the abdomen with an arrow and was able to just pull it. He ripped off the spear part and then pulled the other part out of him. And then later on he gets shot in the chest. I'm sorry. He would not be able to actually like live on. I know he does like some things to like help his wound. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I might have been on my phone at that point. But Petko, if you were shot in the leg with a bullet, that's what I always assumed that conversation was about. I guarantee you cannot run over a mile after being shot in the leg.
You would be crying so hard.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll try it out.
I almost want to test this one out for the Big Movie Boys YouTube page. We have a cop friend. We can make this happen.
We'll shoot you right in your bitch old thigh.
Wouldn't be a problem. I'd run 100 yards easily. All right, let me air this one out. See what everyone thinks. The Mayans are thinking on a very archaic level, right? They're saying we must sacrifice humans and their blood will feed our God. Part of the reasons the Christians have to come in here is to teach the Mayans the loophole, right? Because the Christians realize sacrificing humans, animals, anything, their blood to God, what does that do for God? Nothing. God doesn't need earthly things. He doesn't need earthly blood. What do we need to sacrifice to God? The only thing viable is God himself. So if we believe in the Holy Trinity, and we look at when Christ comes down on earth, and we say we're going to sacrifice Christ himself, his life on the cross, that's the last sacrifice, right? That's the final sacrifice. No human blood. Why do the Mayans believe human blood is anything to God? Let me look at it on this level. Is there some sort of divine presence in each human? Is that why their spilt blood is desirable to the gods? You could look at it from that angle. But I wouldn't.
What the fuck are you talking
Should I have smoked a shitload of weed before Petko just talked right there? Because that's how I feel. I like what you're saying is like interesting. Like I'm following along. Like in the end, I think it's all bullshit. I think like it was just a way for them to trick themselves into thinking that they could actually control things where they had no control. Like that's why I'm very glad like science has played a big role in how people feel today, because like people would just kill other people because they thought that would appease their gods. It's like I'm glad smart people stepped in and were like, no, this is not true.
Yeah, we actually have to water our crops. We don't have to kill people so that plants grow. That's I'm happy we fucking learned that over thousands of years. Jesus fuck.
All right, any final thoughts on Apocalypto here?
Go fucking watch it. It's a bomb ass movie. Yeah. Great.
My only regret for this movie, I didn't watch it in Bob's basement 8 years ago when Petko stole it from Blockbuster.
I purchased it fair and square, like a good citizen. Final thoughts. Let me think here.
Give us all of them.
I mean, I guess I think the biggest message in this movie is that, you know, there's always a bigger fish in the pond until you reach the Catholic Church, right? So this movie,
That's such a good line.
this movie starts off with them.
There's always a bigger fish in the pond until you reach the Catholic Church.
This movie starts off just an innocent animal in the forest, a tapir. They kill it. They hunt it. That was the small fish. They took it. It's theirs now, right? Then a bigger class of city-dwelling warriors come in, and they take them slaves. It's just like them hunting the tapir. And the city dwellers and the whole warrior class and everyone in the big Mayan city thinks they're hot shit because they fucked up the forest boys. But Catholic Church will always find a way in. And they're not losing, I'll tell you that.
Damn, well, with that, thank you, as always, for listening, and remember, a great civilization is not conquered from without until it has destroyed itself from within. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me, everyone. This was an enlightening time.
Cut the audio.
That's the end of the podcast, Pat. As soon as he says that line, it's done, though.
Well, he didn't let me sign out, bro. That's kind of rude.